What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk to you about Webull. I want to go over some of the data points, what's moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Webull is down 4.1%, 1029 the low, 1083 the high, and very low volume. So 14.3 million shares being traded, 31 is the average. So you're not really seeing that much as far as institutions buying the Webull dip. Only 5 transactions on the secondary market, 3 of which are sells, 2 are buys. So again, big money is not really doing too much as far as Webull. And I think the biggest issue is, despite the fear in the broader market, so today we had a broad market sell-off first thing, and that was more linked to just consumers, a lot of negative data and negative articles signaling a lot of cracks, but at the same time a increase in geopolitical issues between the States and China. So on Sunday we did have a tentative deal between the States and China. This is some of the Chinese actions that need to be done. This is the American. But shortly after this, you did have also Trump saying that he's going to be blocking China from accessing NVIDIA's most advanced semiconductor chips. So you kind of have this level of uncertainty. So that's what ultimately did bring just the broader market a little bit lower, but you have Webull still lagging. A lot of people always say that kind of lag is value, and I kind of tend to disagree. I do feel that Webull has a lot of good opportunity, especially their earnings coming up right around the corner on the 20th. That could be a good catalyst to really push it higher, but it's going to come down to their future guidance, because for what Webull does truly offer, it's subpar. I know some people might disagree with me on that, but like, it's a very competitive space, and you have SoFi, Robinhood throwing a ton of money in kind of their invest and their brokerage side. So Webull, their big news that came out, for instance, on October the 30th, was them adding some cryptocurrency. So that's not great. That's like old news. Nobody cares about that anymore. And plus, at the time, cryptocurrency is kind of a little bit more on the risky side. So if they would have done this mid 2025, then yes, this would have been a massive, massive catalyst. But it's just lagging. So I think it's just more to do with Webull fundamentally rather than manipulation and it getting suppressed. So I do personally own a lot of Webull. I feel like there's a lot of upside because it's easy to kind of just follow the steps that Robinhood or other kind of brokerages have taken to really kind of get yourself to at least somewhat par. But then it comes down to management. They really need to think outside the box, and they need to do something fast. And so I think just right now, that is why Webull is truly lagging. Like I said, I think instantly a lot of people see whenever a stock is lagging as just manipulation, and that is value. Right now, only 5.87% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 11.34 million shares overall being shorted. And that 5.87% isn't high whatsoever, and that's actually factoring in the fact that I guess shorts doubled down, went from 1.73% to a high of 6.6%, and that was done kind of all in October, so October the 16th to the 27th. So in general, I don't see Webull being a squeeze play. It's not getting crazily manipulated as what a lot of people are portraying. It's just they're not really being innovative. And so I think there's potential for a lot more downside, but again, bigger picture, it won't really take too much for them to really catch up to Robinhood. They just need to really commit, and their upcoming earnings, their key metrics, as well as their future guidance, that could be a good opportunity for them to really signal to the market that they're here to play ball and that they can actually compete against Robinhood and a lot of the other bigger names. So I feel like Webull is just kind of stuck in limbo right now, but it's not heavily shorted, not being manipulated in my opinion. Looking at the options, 8.4 million in calls, 6.2 in puts, and then 48% of all the options being done are bearish in nature. So despite today's pullback, you do see a little bit more optimism for it to kind of move higher. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that 11.50 to 12 by the end of this Friday. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 10. So you kind of have that back and forth. Like I said, not that much in transactions on the secondary market. Dark pool, you have a little bit more transactions, but then again, dark pool is often enough used by shorts as well as hedge funds. There was one new rating that did come out today. It was Michael, who has a 46% success rating from Northland. So Northland, my own personal experience from them, I don't like them. I don't really consider them a real firm, and in my opinion, again, not to speculate, I've actually seen some other companies probably pay Northland just for ratings. So every time I see Northland, it might not be the case in Webull's kind of scenario, but I don't really give them the time of day. So that's just my opinion, of course, but they did give a buy $18 price target. So the market clearly doesn't really believe them that much either, because if so, you would see the stock price really move higher. And it's kind of crazy if you think about it, how Webull only has 2 ratings. So potentially their upcoming earnings, that could really get them a little bit more on the map for analysts. But right now with it currently, that is NEO, so you guys don't care about that. With Webull right now at 1039, just to give you a quick overview, looking at the 1-day chart on a side note, it is trading right below this S1, so 1041 is going to be that kind of key level you ideally want to close above. If not, 935 is going to be a strong support, which would be new low for Webull, unfortunately. But aside from that, 1213 and then 1385 is going to be the next strong target / resistance point. Aside from all that, on the actual chart, things aren't looking great at all. Even looking at the market position, you see very little willing buyers. You did have that nice little push higher briefly that did happen on the 27th, but because of that price action, it did cause it to get overbought, so it's kind of cooling off a little bit. So there's absolutely nothing really to bring up for the technicals that's positive. If anything, it does signal that it's going to consolidate more. So again, refer back to what I mentioned for those fib levels for support. So was it $9 and change, that being the next strong support. But there isn't really all that much in articles really talking about Webull all that much anymore. So it was, I think, very hyped up initially, but I think the company personally let a lot of people down, and they haven't really been putting out any valid news to cause anyone to buy. But again, that could change potentially with their upcoming earnings right around the corner. But definitely, I think there is a flip side, some opportunity for it to really go down. So let me know your thoughts on Webull. Are you buying? Are you selling? What are you doing with Webull? I've been selling a lot of puts. So in case you guys don't know options, if you don't mind owning a stock or buying a stock in general, consider selling a put, because that way you can kind of get it for the price you want, plus you get a premium. Webull is very volatile, so the premium is a little bit increased. So definitely take the time to research options, but if you do like Webull or any other stock out there, consider selling puts. Or just generally, if you really do think that Webull is going to move higher, let's say recover back to that $15 range by throwing out December the 19th, you could make 44.3% on the common stock or make 261.01% on a long call. So definitely take the time to research options, because it can be very profitable and very beneficial. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. I put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.